The economic impact of flags of convenience on developing nations, a case study of Panama. First of all, we're going to present the problem. To better understand what flags of convenience are, we should first understand the role of flag states. The flag state on a ship is responsible for its inspection, seaworthiness, for ensuring safety, pollution prevention, and certifying its crew. Rights and obligations under international law are mainly imposed through flag states, which make them essential when determining the enforceability of international patterns. A flag of convenience vessel uses the flag of a different country other than the one it's from. This practice is interesting to ship owners that prioritize increasing their profits rather than maintaining the well-being of their seafarers, because by adopting the flag of a country that has a more flexible work legislation, they can save money. At the United Nations Maritime Organization, the IMO, countries with more ships under their flag have more weight in decision-making. As a consequence of flags of convenience, many small nations with no merchant shipping tradition or large shipping companies in their territory end up being highly influential when it comes to determining international standards. Indirectly, ship owners choose which states have the power to regulate the industry. We've divided up our research into the following categories. First, we will identify the stakeholders in this situation. Then, we will talk about the historical evolution of flags of convenience in Panama. Then, we're going to identify geographical and geopolitical causes and consequences. Then, we're going to observe the political actions that Panama has taken at a local, national, and global level. Then, we're going to talk about the connection that this has with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. We're going to present a possible solution. And finally, we're going to conclude. So, identifying the stakeholders in this situation. And Panama would be the first stakeholder. As the world's largest ship registry, Panama benefits significantly from flag of convenience registrations. The Panamanian government earns substantial revenue through re-registration fees and annual taxes paid by ship owners. Despite criticism from international regulatory bodies and environmental organizations, Panama continues to maintain its position as a global leader in ship registrations. The government often defends its flag of convenience system by promoting the financial and operational advantages it offers to ship owners while emphasizing its commitment to upholding international safety standards. The second stakeholder would be ship owners. Ship owners are attracted to Panama's registry due to its low costs and flexible regulations. By registering their vessels under the Panamanian flag, they can avoid stricter labor laws and higher tax burdens in their home countries. Panama's streamlined regulatory framework allows ship owners to operate with fewer bureaucratic hurdles, helping them minimize operational costs and increase profitability. This financial incentive has made Panama a top choice for ship registration globally. Another actor in this situation would be regulatory bodies, the IMO and others. International regulatory bodies, such as International Maritime Organization, previously mentioned, work to implement global standards for safety, environmental protection, and labor conditions in shipping. While Panama claims to adhere to these standards, regulatory bodies often face challenges in ensuring that Panama-flagged vessels comply uniformly. Although the Panamanian government participates in international maritime discussions, enforcement of these regulations, particularly on flag of convenience ships, can be inconsistent, raising concerns over safety and environmental impact. Another stakeholder would be environmental organizations. Some international environmental groups criticize Panama for allowing ships with subpar environmental standards to register under its flag. They argue that Panama's lax regulations contribute to pollution, including oil spills, ocean debris, and damage to marine ecosystems. These organizations call for tighter enforcement of international environmental protocols to prevent these issues from worsening. Another stakeholder would be ports. Panamanian ports play a vital role in enforcing international standards through Port State Control Inspections, PSC. However, Panama's flag of convenience system can sometimes burden its ports as they deal with substandard vessels that may not fully comply with safety and environmental regulations. The Panama Canal also plays a key role in global shipping, further complicating port responsibilities when dealing with high-volume traffic and ensuring vessels adhere to international standards. Another stakeholder would be seafarers. Seafarers working on Panama-flagged ships may face lower wages and reduced labor protections compared to vessels registered in countries with stricter regulations. Panama's flag of convenience system allows ship owners to employ international crews under less stringent labor laws, often resulting in poorer working conditions. This can include longer working hours, lower pay, and limited access to legal recourse for mistreatment or unsafe working conditions. The last stakeholder will be consumers. Consumers indirectly benefit from Panama's flag of convenience system, as the lower costs associated with ship registration are passed on to global trade. With reduced operational costs, ship owners can offer cheaper shipping rates, leading to lower prices for goods imported and exported through Panama's ports. While the ethical and environmental implications remain a concern, the flag of convenience system helps maintain lower prices for consumers involved in international trade. Now we're going to talk about the historical evolution about flags of convenience in Panama. In 1917, Panama established its ship registry, offering an alternative for ship owners by providing more flexible regulations than traditional maritime powers. This attracted ship owners looking for operational advantages such as lower costs and fewer regulatory burdens. During World War II, the United States government allowed ships with registration in Panama so that they could continue being neutral but delivering goods to Britain. After World War II, the concept of flag of convenience began to take shape. Ship owners increasingly turned to Panama's registry to avoid stricter regulations in their own countries. Panama's flag of convenience system allowed them to lower costs, reduce taxes, and sidestep labor rules. In 1958, the United Nations Convention on the High Seas introduced the idea of a genuine link between a ship and the flag it flies. However, Panama and other flag of convenience nations continue to grow their registries, taking advantage of international legal ambiguity and less stringent requirements for proving this link. By 1970, open registries, including Panama's, represented 21% of the global fleet. This trend became more common, with Panama's flexible system attracting more and more ship owners. Between 1980 and 1990, Panama became the largest ship registry in the world. In the 2000s, Panama began to show more commitment to international conventions from the IMO or the ILO. In 2017, Panama celebrated 100 years of its ship registry. In the 2020s, Panama remains the leading ship registry in the world. However, it faces continued scrutiny from international bodies and environmental organizations, which call for stricter enforcement of safety, labor, and environmental standards. Now we're going to talk about geographical and geopolitical causes of this situation in Panama. Some causes of this would be the difference between labor legislations of different nations, which make the ones with more lenient legislations more attractive to the ones that have stricter laws. The main motivation for adopting flags of convenience is the reduction of taxes and oversight, which allows ship owners to save money. Globalization and the connection between nations make it easier for the competition in the shipping market to increase, as countries can adopt other countries' legislation to benefit themselves. Consequences of this would be, as the profits are shared between the company and the state of registration, it creates a profitable economic opportunity for countries with more lenient labor legislations. Countries with more ships under its flag have more weight in decision-making, while those with fewer ships have less power. In the case of Panama, its strategic location between the Americas and its access to the Panama Canal, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, makes it a key place when it comes to international maritime trade. Its political stability compared to neighboring countries, together with its favorable legal framework, also makes it an attractive nation for ship owners to choose as their flag state. At the same time, its flag of convenience helps Panama's economic growth. Country ends up being completely dependent on it, as it's one of their main sources of profit. Now we're going to talk about the political actions that Panama has taken part in. On the one hand, according to the IMO, Panama has ratified the majority of international conventions related to maritime safety and environmental protection, with a few exceptions. In particular, Panama has not ratified the following conventions. International Convention for Safe Containers, CSC. This convention ensures containers used in international trade comply with safety regulations. 2012 Cape Town Agreement. This agreement updates safety measures for fishing vessels and strives to better working conditions and safety at sea for crews of said vessels. Convention on Limitation of Liability for Maritime Claims. This treaty sets limits on the liability of ship owners in case of claims arising from maritime incidents. By not ratifying this convention, Panama does not establish a clear legal framework for compensating affected parties, leaving the amount of compensation owed by vessel owners undefined in the event of grievances or damages to seafarers or others involved in maritime operations. In contrast, Panama has committed to a broad range of important maritime conventions. According to the International Chamber of Shipping, Panama is a signatory to several major international treaties, including Safety of Life at Sea, International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, Load Lines, International Convention on the Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers, the International Convention on Civil Liability for Oil Pollution Damage and Fund Convention, and the Maritime Labor Convention. Despite ratifying these significant conventions, Panama is notably absent from the Paris Memorandum of Understanding whitelist, which ranks countries based on their performance in implementing international maritime standards. Being excluded from this list can be viewed as a negative indicator of a country's compliance with these standards. It suggests that Panama has ratified many important treaties. There may be challenges in enforcement or issues with the safety and performance of its registered vessels that contribute to suboptimal compliance. The more relevant sustainable development goal that we could link with this situation would be the 8th sustainable development goal, decent work and economic growth. Flags of convenience are often used to bypass labor laws in developed countries. At sea, vessels follow their country of origin's labor laws. Therefore, as many flag of convenience countries haven't signed or ratified international labor conventions, seamen are often subjected to inadequate working conditions and low salaries. Panama's case, however, the government has ratified the majority of international conventions. Nevertheless, according to NGOs like the International Transport Workers Federation, worker safety regulations are often ignored. Corruption is rife, with reported cases of untrained individuals being able to obtain boating licenses with no previous maritime skills or experience, greatly endangering crew members aboard vessels. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about a possible solution and a conclusion. When it comes to trying to solve the problem of flags of convenience, it is possible to talk about the failed attempt of the Hong Kong Convention to create incentives that leads towards safer and cleaner practices. Panama and Marshall Islands supported the industry by watering down efforts to hold ship owners accountable. Their goal was to approve current practices that provide continued profits. While competition and the search for profit in the shipping industry continues to increase, the strive for bigger profits will drive both ship owners and flag of convenience countries to continue this practice, as it is a mutually beneficial one. So in order to make an effective change related to ship breaking problem, it is essential to hold the ship owners accountable or impose obligations on the states where they're located, such as Panama. These can only be done through common effort involving different countries that are able to pressure those who benefit from this system. Increasing public awareness on the topic can also lead to more informed choices related to shipping practices. And establishing a financial incentive that promotes the registration in ships in nations with strict regulatory frame can help promote higher standards when talking about structures and safety in the vessels. In the case of countries like Panama, where one of the main sources of income is flag of convenience industry, the government could invest in other areas that could generate national income. It is also the role of other nations and international organizations, in which countries that benefit from this practice are included, to encourage and offer assistance when investing in the local economy of Panama and others dependent on flags of convenience. Consequently, with a more diversified economy, these countries will be able to increasingly distance themselves from flag of convenience industry, and thus stop contributing to an international market that generates diverse risks to the environment and perpetuates degrading working conditions.